My mother-in-law rushed to my aid after I fell victim to a burglary. She's usually intimidating, but I always thought I could rely on her when I needed. However, she suddenly changed and came at me with the tip of a knife.
Why? Don't take it the wrong way.
But the knife in her hand ended up in an unexpected place. My name is Maggie. I'm 35 years old. I work for a major television station. After working in a few departments, I was able to transfer to the coveted news department a few years ago. Honestly, my days as a news reporter was so busy that I could say there was almost no private life, dedicating most of my life to work. That's why I thought I would continue to live alone without getting married or having children, as I secretly planned my retirement. The one who showed affection for me was my current husband, John. My husband, 3 years younger than me, is a director working at the same television station. He spent a long time in the trenches and was promoted to director just 2 years ago. That's why when he told me he was into me, I doubted it and thought it was a joke. Honestly, he was a target of gossip within the station for being promoted to director at such a young age. And not just because of me, he was quite popular with young and cute colleagues.
I've always liked you, Maggie, and I worked hard at my job to get you to notice me. Please, as a reward for my efforts, could you go out with me?
It turns out he had feelings for me since he joined the company. However, to be honest, my first impressions of him was like a younger brother, and I couldn't see him as a romantic interest at all.
No, it might be a bit complicated. I prefer someone older.
I get told that I'm mature. I'm confident that I don't come off as younger.
At first, I rejected him many times, but as my heart gradually wavered to his unwavering feelings for me, we finally started dating. The subsequent marriage progressed smoothly, and that was the story from a year ago. After marriage, with concerns about age, we quickly started infertility treatment. However, what was revealed during this process was that I had difficulties getting pregnant. Under the guidance of a doctor, we decided to visit the hospital seeking IVF, but due to the busyness of work, it didn't go well at all. In the midst of accumulating stress and wasted efforts and money, we felt our limits. After discussing it thoroughly with my husband, we decided to live as a couple without children. My husband respected my decision. However, my mother-in-law was furious about this. Originally, she didn't like the fact that I was 3 years older, and even before marriage, she didn't welcome me at all. Still, both my husband and I worked in the media industry. We were well aware of the demands of our busy jobs. Thinking there wouldn't be frequent interactions, we got married without paying much attention. My mother-in-law herself initially didn't exhibit any sort of mistreatment or bullying typical of a mother-in-law. However, her attitude changed dramatically when she learned about our choice not to have children.
Why aren't you having kids? It's probably because you married an older woman.
She began angrily blaming and berating me, spreading the story that her son was deceived by an older, barren woman. Honestly, I didn't care about the people around my mother-in-law and didn't want to associate with them. However, it was my husband who got ferocious about this.
Mom, stop spreading weird rumors about Maggie. I explained that she's the person I've loved for a long time, and we finally got married. If you don't stop this bad behavior, we'll cut ties.
Faced with the prospect of being estranged from her beloved son, she must have thought twice. After my husband clearly voiced his complaints, she stopped spreading gossip about me. Still unable to contain herself, she would find opportune moments unnoticed by my husband to harass me.
Next week, there's a family event. Counting on you to be there.
Suddenly, being scheduled for events like this became commonplace.
I'm sorry, but I have a demanding job, and I can't accommodate sudden plans. I've asked many times before, but if possible, I'd like to know these events a month in advance, please. You're talking quite arrogantly to me. Oh, scary, scary. It's like bullying. You're the eldest son's wife, so it's only natural to accommodate the in-laws. If you can't do that, continuing with your job might be difficult, right? Oh, this isn't bullying. It's advice, you know.
After repeatedly making snide remarks, my mother-in-law insisted it wasn't bullying. Perhaps out of fear of being estranged from her son, she carefully chose her words. If that's the case, why bother saying anything? And what kind of advice is that? One day, tired of her hidden bullying, a major event that would change my fate occurred. I won first prize in the lottery. The reason I had a lottery ticket was that we were planning a special program about the lottery at work. All the employees were almost forced to buy tickets. Forgetting about it, my boss pointed it out, and to my surprise, I had won. There was a commotion at the office.
Congratulations! Would you like to take charge of the program for the upcoming special? We want the experience of an actual winner. Of course!
Special programs about the lottery are popular shows with high viewership ratings at the end of the year. I was thrilled to take on a significant role, and honestly, I was happier about that than the money. That night, I promptly reported the news to my husband. As expected, he was incredibly surprised.
Amazing! How much is the prize money?
Roughly $10 million, but a significant amount will be taken by taxes.
Whoa! Treat me to a steak on our next day off.
So funny. Be prepared for something more luxurious. He burst into laughter at my remark. I really loved these moments. I planned to temporarily keep the lottery winnings in our joint account. Since there wasn't anything in particular I wanted, we considered buying a house, but both of us were too busy to search for one.
Yeah, that's right. Besides, since you won, you can use the money for whatever you like. How about decking yourself out in designer brands from head to toe?
Oh, that could work for the special theme feature. I won the lottery, so I dressed myself in designer brands. Guess how much it costs?
Why not just buy the entire store?
No way! It's a waste of fortune. Even in the midst of discussing work-related matters, it was confronting to have a light-hearted conversation with my husband. As for the use of the lottery winnings, it was put on hold for the time being. However, such news tends to leak from somewhere. One day, my mother-in-law showed up at my house without notice. She approached me with excitement.
Hey, Maggie! Is it true you won the first prize in the lottery?
I wondered where she heard that. I froze, breaking into a nervous sweat. Did my husband accidentally let it slip? Regardless, I decided to be honest, as deceiving would not help.
As expected of you, Maggie. It's like your luck knows no bounds. People with good conduct and hard work in their daily lives tend to be favored by luck when it comes to matters. That's how God sees it,
she said, clearly adopting a different attitude towards me. Good behavior and hard work, huh? I'm hearing about that for the first time from your mouth, though.
Maggie, blessed by the gods, you wouldn't leave someone in need, right? Actually, I need you to lend me some money.
The moment I heard those words, I almost stumbled. I see, no matter how much she praises, it ultimately comes down to money. According to my mother-in-law, she needed money for a dear friend, and she asked for a loan of $300.
I'm currently looking for a part-time job. Even if I find one, won't the salary take some time to come in? I'll pay you back later. Could you please help?
If it's around that amount, it's okay. I thought that if it's just $300, she doesn't have to worry about repaying it. With that in mind, I willingly lent her the money. Little did I know that this would mark the beginning of my struggles with my mother-in-law's repeated requests for loans. A week after the initial $300, she asked for $500. Furthermore, in the following weeks, the amount increased, reaching a peak of $10,000. Naturally, not a single penny was ever repaid. I began to feel that something was off, so I mustered the courage to reject my mother-in-law's request for money.
You haven't even repaid the initial $300 I lent you, regardless of my lottery win. Isn't it insincere to continue like this? If you can't repay, you don't have to worry about the past amounts. However, I'd like to stop lending you money from now on. Oh, that's troublesome.
That's troublesome for me too. Despite turning a blind eye to the money I had lent her so far, my mother-in-law persistently clung to her demands.
Hey, why do you need money so desperately? It doesn't matter.
Like a child, she turned away.
You too, working tirelessly with no children. Even if you have money, it's useless. If you have plenty, just shut up and give it to me.
She stormed out of the house, crying and screaming as if I were the one at fault. I was dumbfounded. However, I couldn't fathom why she was so desperate to gather money. The mystery only deepened. One day, when I happened to have some free time, I went home to retrieve some bank-related documents. My husband had been away on a short business trip. When I entered the supposedly empty house, I felt a sense of unease. Faint sounds could be heard.
Wait, John?
Thinking my husband had returned for some reason, I called out, but there was no response. As I entered the room,
Oh!
a stranger was ransacking the room, and the window on the balcony was shattered. Yes, I had fallen victim to a burglary. The burglar had a large mask to hide their face, but during the escape, the mask slipped. Panicking, he covered his face and swiftly fled using a pre-prepared escape route. Despite the sudden fear freezing my legs, I managed to call 100. Even when explaining the situation to the arriving police officer, I couldn't stop tears from flowing due to the terror. The police officer suggested calling someone trustworthy to come to the house, but my husband was away on a business trip, and my own parents lived far away. Taking a bold step, I called my in-laws, and my mother-in-law surprisingly answered. Subsequently, to my surprise, she hurriedly came to my aid.
Maggie, are you okay? Is that true you were attacked by a robber?
It was not a robber, it was a burglar. Thank you for coming. The police officer, leaving only a remark about investigating the culprit, left. That night, my mother-in-law decided to stay over.
You must have had a scary experience. I brought some food that I thought you'd like, Maggie.
Her attitude was strangely kind. Normally, I would have found it unnatural, but given my shaken mental state after the break-in, her kindness truly resonated with me.
To ensure you can rest, I'll take care of all the cleanup.
Thank you so much. This is the first time something like this has happened, and I'm scared.
He seemed like a young man, but could he be one of those part-timers that was recently featured in the news? Wait, Maggie, did you see the criminal's face?
She abruptly changed her tone, but in my complacency within the secure environment, I overlooked the subtle change in her demeanor.
Yes, I was so flustered earlier that I forgot, but I saw his face when the mask slipped. I'm planning to call the police now. I see.
The next morning, my mother-in-law, who had prepared breakfast, suddenly changed, still holding a knife and swiftly approaching me. I didn't understand what was happening, but reflectively dodged her attack.
Oh dear, you saw it, didn't you? What? What's going on? Could it be that the criminal is someone you know, and you're the mastermind? As expected, working at a TV station pays off. You were sharp, but I want you to forget about it.
With the knife pointed towards me, she was closing the distance.
Wait, why?
My mother-in-law, who had come to my aid faster than anyone, betrayed me.
Don't take it the wrong way. I need money because you didn't willingly give it to me. Okay, I understand. I'll give you the money, so please stop. But it might be too late now. If John finds out about this, our relationship will crumble.
Desperate to escape my mother-in-law's attack, I tried to call for help. However, she cut the phone line to prevent external communication. She also took away my phone that was on the table. I'm considering running outside, but she refused to budge from the front of the door. Could I manage if I charged at her? I'm younger, so maybe I could escape with just a few injuries, but it was terrifying. Obviously, charging at someone with a knife is incredibly frightening.
Stay put.
As my mother-in-law closed the gap rapidly, at that moment she stepped on a magazine, stumbled, and lost her balance. In the process, the knife slipped out of her hand.
I'm home, Maggie. The burglar is home?
My husband, who had just cut his business trip short after receiving my call, suddenly returned home. The knife that flew out smoothly passed right by his face and embedded itself in the wall.
Whoa!
I stood there dumbfounded, like something out of a manga, while my husband, in a wide-legged stance, stuck to the wall, his knees giving way. Regaining her composure, My mother-in-law, understanding the situation that's just unfolded, screamed in panic.
John, are you okay? No injuries?
He, who had been paralyzed by fear, panicked but instinctively restrained her. Seizing the opportunity, I quickly called the police.
John, let go!
Mom, the knife you were holding was aimed at Maggie, wasn't it?
Although he didn't see the situation, seeing the knife flying into the chaotic room made him instinctively sense the danger. Soon after, several policemen arrived, and about 10 officers stormed into the room. She was handcuffed in a flash and taken away, wailing. My mother-in-law was arrested, and the truth behind the break-in was revealed. The culprit turned out to be a host from a male host club she favored. Her motive for this crime was to steal my lottery winnings. It seemed she wanted money because she had been frequently visiting the club. Having accumulated quite a debt, she threatened not to pay unless he helped her, forcing the guy into participating. Afterward, he committed theft, and she was convicted of assault. But due to the absence of injuries, she received a suspended sentence. However, that didn't mean things went back to normal. Disrupted by the host, she embezzled money from our household and committed this heinous act. Enraged, my father-in-law rightfully demanded a divorce. My mother-in-law, now left with nothing, sadly still faced more consequences. Then, events unfolded at my workplace, at the TV station. She was relentlessly pursued by reporters, subjected to public defamation, and unable to walk outside. In a panic, she moved to a distant rural town. Though she's now unreachable, rumors suggest that she lives a lonely life. As for my husband and I, we continue to live a modest and sensible life without indulging in too much extravagance. Winning the lottery is a dream for many, but acquiring a large sum of money can throw one's fate into disarray. You never know if people will treat you differently, and sometimes it's the ones closest to you that are the worst.